Okay, so the next category is the 10% cumulative tolerance category. Now, in this category, the fees can go up. However, the total increase for all of these fees, when you add them together, cannot exceed 10%. So they cannot increase by more than 10%. Okay, these include recording fees, other government charges, and fees for third-party services where the borrower was not allowed to shop. All right. So in some cases, what the lender will do is they will give the borrower a list of their preferred vendors. Okay. If that borrower chooses one of those lenders from that list, then they fall within that 10% cumulative tolerance category. Okay. So the borrower is not really allowed to shop. And so that they fall into that 10% cumulative tolerance bucket. Okay. When we talk about cumulative tolerance, it means that, okay, so a single cost that falls in that category can go up by more than 10%. However, when you add all the costs of all the fees that fall under that category, the total increase cannot be more than 10%. Okay, so it includes recording fees and other third-party services for which the borrower was not allowed to shop. They may have been given a list from the lender, and those fall under the 10% cumulative tolerance. Okay, the final category is unlimited tolerance. Now, as this name implies, for this category, the tolerance is unlimited. So the fees can change by any amount. There is no limit to how much the fees can change between what is disclosed on the loan estimate and what is disclosed on the CD, right? So fees in this category include things like your prepaid interest, your property taxes, your property insurance, homeowners association dues, anything that may be put in escrow or put in reserves, those have unlimited tolerance. Also, any service for which the borrower can freely shop. So the lender does not put a limit on, if the lender does not put a limit on the provider that the borrower can use, these fall under the unlimited tolerance category. Okay. Also, if there is a cost that is optional, right? The lender does not require this cost. Let's say, for example, a home warranty. So that's normally an optional cost. The borrower does not have to get a home warranty. It's not a requirement from the lender. Those costs also fall under the unlimited tolerance categories. Okay. So remember these three different categories. All right. So there are times when you will have what is called a change of circumstance, right? So something happens between the time that the loan estimate was initially disclosed and the time for the CD to be disclosed. Things can change, all right? There are so a change, that's called a change of circumstance, and that is just a special situation that allows the lender to issue a new loan estimate with higher fees, even for fees that cannot normally increase. All right, but it has to be a valid change of circumstance. Now, what do we consider a valid change of circumstance? A valid change of circumstance is going to be an act of God. It's going to be a war, an emergency, something that is beyond human control. All right, that's a valid change of circumstance. Also, any information that the lender relied on that has changed, that's a valid change of circumstance. Also, any change that the borrower requests to the interest rate or to the loan product. So as long as it is a request from the borrower, it is a valid change of circumstance. Another valid change of circumstance if new information is discovered by the lender after they have issued their initial LE. They discover new information that changes everything. Okay, they are allowed to issue a revised loan estimate. Another valid change of circumstance is where the rate is locked. So when the lender initially issued the loan estimate, perhaps they did not lock the rate. Perhaps the rate was not locked. Okay, and subsequent to that, the rate may have been locked. Okay, the borrower may have requested that the rate be locked as a particular rate. Once that happens, that is a valid change of circumstance, and the lender would need to issue a revised loan estimate. Another valid change of circumstance is if closing is delayed by 60 days or more. Okay, now note that it is 60 days or more. If it's less than that, it's considered a normal, a normal delay. There are usually some delays in processing. Those are normal. But if it goes beyond 60 days, that's a valid change of circumstance that would require a new loan estimate to be issued, right? A revised loan estimate, right? So if a revised loan estimate needs to be given, it must be given within 3 business days of the lender knowing of the valid change of circumstance, okay? So 3 business days, the lender has to go ahead and issue a new loan estimate to the borrower, okay? So here are some examples of valid changes of circumstance. Number 1, let's say you apply for a loan and the lender estimates that your homeowner's insurance is $1,200 per year. But after getting your actual quotes, your insurance will be $1,500 per year. Is this a valid change of circumstance? Yes, it is. Why? Because new information that the lender did not rely on when they initially issued their loan estimate has come about. All right, so that's a valid change of circumstance. Another example is, let's say the appraisal comes in at $380,000, but the lender had estimated that the estimated cost of this property was about $400. Is that a valid change of circumstance? Yes, it is. Because again, the information that the lender relied on was inaccurate. Okay, so that is a valid change of circumstance. Another example is during the title search, the title company discovers an old lien that needs to be paid off, adding to the costs. Is this a valid change of circumstance? Yes. Why? Because new information has been discovered by the lender. All right, and another example is the borrower decides to increase the loan amount from $300,000 to $325,000. That also is a valid change of circumstance, which would allow for a revised loan estimate. All right, let's do some questions. All right. So let's say a borrower receives an LE showing a lender origination fee of $3,500. After the LE is issued, the borrower decides to change loan programs from a fixed rate to an ARM. This switch results in new underwriting and pricing requirements. What is the correct TRID action? A. No change allowed because the borrower requested it. B. This is a valid change of circumstance and the revised LE may be issued. C. The lender must absorb the cost difference under zero tolerance. Or D. Issue a revised CD only. What do you think is the correct answer for this one? Okay, the correct answer is B. This is a valid change of circumstance and a revised LE may be issued. Now this one is a little bit tricky because we're talking about lender origination fees. Now normally lender charges, direct lender charges come under zero tolerance, so they cannot change. However, in this case, we see that the borrower requested a change of product. So any borrower requested change to the loan product is a valid change of circumstance and a revised LE may be issued. So the correct answer is B. Okay, let's do another one. The lender quoted a homeowner's insurance premium based on the buyer living in a low-risk area. After appraisal, it is discovered that the property is in a flood zone, increasing insurance requirements. How is this treated under TRID? A. No change allowed. Risk determination is not a valid change. B. It's the borrower's fault, so fees may increase without a revised disclosure. C. This is a valid change of circumstance because property information has changed. Or D. This must be absorbed by the lender under 10% cumulative tolerance. Okay, the correct answer is C. This is a valid change of circumstance because the property information changed. Okay, the lender had relied upon incorrect information. Now they have received the correct information, and so this is a valid change of circumstance. Okay. Another one, an LE showing recording fees of $95 and title search fees of $600. After finalization, recording fees increased to $115 due to unexpected additional county paperwork. Which tolerance applies? A. Zero tolerance. The borrower must not pay the difference. B. Unlimited tolerance. Amount may change but must be redisclosed. C. 10% cumulative tolerance. Or D. This is not a valid change and the lender must eat the cost. Okay. Okay, the correct answer is C, 10% cumulative tolerance. Remember we said that recording fees fall under the 10% cumulative tolerance category, and so this is a 10% cumulative tolerance cost. Okay, so the correct answer is C. All right, here's another one. A borrower locks their interest rate after the LE was originally issued. Which is correct? A. This is a valid change of circumstance, so a revised LE may be issued. B. This is not allowed. Rate lock information must remain as disclosed. C. The lender must absorb any rate change. Or D. This is only allowed if the borrower also changes their loan amount. Okay, the correct answer is A. This is a valid change of circumstance, so a revised LE may be issued. All right, remember we stated that a rate lock, if the rate is locked after the initial LE is disclosed, then that is considered to be a valid change of circumstance and a revised loan estimate is allowed. All right. All right, guys, so that is it. So if you found value in this video, feel free to subscribe to this channel. If you have any comments, any questions, go ahead, leave those in the description. Remember to hit that bell, that notification bell, so that you will be notified of new videos as we publish them, okay? So for valuable tips on how to pass your NMLS exams, to make sense of the nonsense, subscribe to this channel. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.